Hello, this is the first of my videos giving you some overviews and help on CartRack. I'm going to try and make quite a few of them so they're short and sweet. This first one is probably be one of the longer ones because I've got to get across the installation, or so-called, and an overview of CartRack. We're starting with, it's October 2018 as I speak, and there's a new version out called CartRack YAR. The difference between this and version 8 is relatively small, and I think the help should, you can reverse engineer it if you're still using version 8. I would say the only reason you might stick with version 8 or older is if you're using a very old and small monitor. Some of the upgrades in the way the text works might not be conducive. But anyway, give them a try, because it's calling it an installation is a bit overblowing it. Let's start here with, excuse me, I'm just checking things are working. Yeah. Now, by now I imagine you will have found a link to download a zip file of CartRack YAR via the Face Group CartRack group. And what I recommend you do is not use the C drive if you can help it. Windows can be a bit difficult about that nowadays, and therefore probably your D drive. Unzip the folder as it appears here. I've put it in another little subfolder so that it's easy for you to see what's going on. First of all, this folder, I've just got some sample sessions, i.e. that collections of tracks to play. I think you only need one folder for those. You're not like to have so many, you need to have them in lots of folders. Anyway, inside the CartRack YAR folder, let's see what's what. No need to go through all these, but I'll do the highlights. First folder here is Cartology. That just contains the two help files. There are buttons linking to these within CartRack, but as you can see, they're PDF, so you can look at them any way you want to. Then the first important file to user is this CartInI XML. If we can see this preview, you might get the gist that these contain sort of the preferences and settings. You can see up here that these are the devices that are going to play out of each channel. I'm keeping it simple. I've only got the same one for each, but obviously ideally you want device or devices to give you 4 separate stereo channels. If you're an existing user of CartRack, you would, I recommend, unzip this folder, then copy your current version of cart_ini.xml and replace this one with it so that your settings stay with you and you don't have to remake them. Not that that's a big deal, but why not? CartRackYAR.exe is unsurprisingly the main file. You probably would create a shortcut to your desktop or whatever you want, however you operate, and it might be worth your while looking, depending on the version of Windows you have, looking for how you might run it as administrator to sort of cut down on the annoying messages you get about, are you sure you want to actually use this program? The next file that's of sort of user interest is what I call a database, CartRack database.txt. The purpose of this will come more apparent in future videos, but it's basically a store of audio files, which can be MP3, WAV or FLAC, and a memory of the way you've chosen to label the buttons for that particular track. So again, if you're an existing user, find your current copy of this file and overwrite this one so that you've got something in it, and because this could potentially be enormous. There could be thousands of tracks that you've edited in the past, and you don't really want to lose that data. One of the new things to CartRack YAR is this backup database file. It just gives a little bit of limited backup. It's always one step behind, or one save behind. And the main thing that will happen is when you make a change and your database file gets saved, if it's smaller than the backup, a message will come up and warn you and suggest you do something about it, because the data you can only add to the database, so it should only get larger or stay the same. So if it's getting smaller, there's a problem. Then these files here, they just get me started, quick starts, little notifications about updates and so on. So let's start CartRack and have a quick look at what it's about. Now, it's going to be quite slow to start here, simply because I'm running software that's recording all this. So my laptop is getting on a bit, and it's having to work quite hard. It normally flies along, so I'll try and think of a joke to tell while we wait. Oh, there we go. Now, first of all, if you were a new user, you would not have set in that CartInnie a device, and you would have had a couple of error messages by now. So the first thing you would do is come to here, hardware devices, and in each of these will be listed any sound device that is compatible, i.e. those that will appear in the control panel sound settings for Windows. For quite a few years now, since I went to a 64-bit version, I mean it's 32-bit, but it's compatible with 64-bit. I haven't found a sound device that CartRack is fussy about. So I'll stick my neck out and say that the only type of sound device that it won't work with are ASIO, A-S-I-O. It's not designed to work with ASIO devices, so don't expect it to work there. If it appears in Windows as a device, sound device, it should appear in CartRack. For not overly expensive devices that give you multiple outputs, I would recommend M-Audio. I've used them a lot. I'm currently using at home the it's called CartRack, sorry, M-Audio, oh gosh, I've forgotten the name, sorry, M8 or something like that. So 1U unit giving you 8 outputs, in other words 4 times 2, 4 stereo, which is exactly what you want. But there are a few around. If you check the help, there are a few other tested devices. As I said before, I'm keeping it simple on here, and I've just got the same device on it, each of the 4 channels. And by the 4 channels, I mean these 4 devices down the bottom. These are output play channels. Quickly, this output frequency, in a way, doesn't matter what you set. I like to set it to whatever I've got my hardware running at, and ideally 48 kilohertz. CartRack sample rate converts on the fly, so your files ideally have them at 48K or 44.1, whichever you prefer, but it will play anything. If it's an MP3, WAV or FLAC, it gets on with it, and I haven't found anything it will grumble about. So that's there. Now the other important bit in this little pane, which can be opened by this session/config button up here at any time, by the way, set this browse here to the location of your CartRack sessions folder, wherever it is you want to keep them. As I said, I think you only need one folder, unless somehow you're having dozens and dozens of sessions and you need to organize them. And then you're always pointing at, there you go, here are those 3 sessions I pointed to. Let's quickly double click one, and then you can get a better look at CartRack. Now this is driver, this is the main part. There are 2 halves to CartRack, driver and navigator. This is driver, this is the bit that plays audio. On the right the most obvious difference between CartRack YAR and any previous version is that it has 18 of these page buttons. All previous versions had 10. Now you can actually open new sessions while you're playing audio with no problem at all. So it's limitless the amount of tracks you can have available to you, but obviously having 18 pages gives you a bit more flexibility for a single session. Each page gives you 49 track buttons. So 18 by 49 is 882. You can actually have 882 songs, clips available to you within one session. I'll quickly show you this track title view. You can label each button twice. So let's look at the top left. It's easy to I've got it on the artist field at the moment, and that shows me that this track is by Roxette, and if I hover over the button it says it's 3:55 long and the title is Almost Unreal. If I go back to the first view, track title, there we go, it says it's Almost Unreal, and the little tooltip tells me it's 3:55 and it's by Roxette, so you can choose whichever way you want to look at it. Okay, that's a basic view of driver. Now the other half is navigator, and that's this button down the bottom here. This is where we create or edit sessions, and already I have this path set to where my sessions are, so I can see these files here. And if I open the one I have open in driver, we can see there it is. Also have a track title button down here, artist button. And that's it, I think, for this video. It's just to give you a bit of an overview of what CartRack is about. Other videos will obviously show us how to create a new session and therefore edit them, and then the modes to play them in. But I think as an overview, getting you started, is this a program for me, and how to set it up and get it running, I think that pretty much covers it.